definitely did not have this on my 2024 bingo card, but a former Raptors point guard has turned into a dual professional athlete in the recent week. And we have footage from the event as well, which showcases whether or not he has actual talent there. Let's have a look here. The Amateur Hour Production Network is dedicated to Toronto Raptors content. We do videos and we also do live streams, which go long on the main channel. So to make it easier for you guys to watch and to digest, we have the Amateur Hour Clips channel. We're going to take the best highlights and segments from those live streams on Amateur Hour Sports and put them right here for you to enjoy. So if you like what you see along the way, make sure you do hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel as well. With so much consistent content coming out as well as post-game shows during the season, you're not going to want to miss out. The player in question is, of course, Denis Schroder. Former Toronto Raptors point guard Denis Schroder made his first professional soccer appearance for, good grief, FC Germania Bleckenstedt. Did my best there, of the German league. So if anybody doesn't know, with soccer, there are different tiers of leagues. There's obviously, not obviously, but for Germany, there's the Bundesliga. Then there is the second tier, the third tier, and so on and so forth. There's relegation, promotion. This team, which I'm not going to repeat the name for, is in the sixth tier of German soccer. So yes, it's professional, very low level professional. The guys that are on, guys that would be on this team, I don't know for sure, but I am going to basically guarantee you guys that is not their main job. That's a bit of a side gig here. And Denis Schroder, hey, props to him. He played a professional soccer game there. So we will absolutely give credit for that, but maybe a little bit less credit when we learn about, geez, the amount of ads here. A little bit less credit when we figure out how it happened. The game was set up by Schroeder's brother-in-law, who currently plays for that team. But that's how it ended up happening for Denis Schroder, because his brother-in-law played for the team. Did play 62 minutes of the 90. They lost 5-1. But, hey, look, played a professional soccer game. Not everybody can say that. Here's a couple of pieces of footage from the game. You really do see how tall NBA players are when they're with, like, normal-sized people, even as a point guard, Denis Schroder. But I knew as soon as I saw this story, I had to find highlights from it. And thankfully, we got him. So let's take a look here. Now, I'm not like, the god of soccer here, but I did play at a high level for a very long time, so I do understand the nuances of the game. So I kind of want to critique what I see from Denis Schroder. Does he actually know how to play? We know this probably was a little bit of a publicity stunt or just some fun for Denis Schroder, but does he actually have the ability to play in some capacity? Here are the highlights from the event here. So, decent touch there. What I do notice is that he's like decent touch there. He's very calm and maybe to a bit of a fault, a bit casual on the ball, but he's very calm and composed at the very least. This one, we're grasping at the highlights here, but this play here made me bit like, I don't know about that. Didn't seem to have a lot of control here to know what he wanted to do with it. But yeah, this probably horrible cross didn't go anywhere. But it didn't seem like from this video that he was completely lost or anything, which I kind of thought he would be based on the headline here. And before I watched the video, he doesn't look extraordinarily out of play. I mean, look, his teammate just wellied it 30 yards across the field. Does he take it down still? Well, horrible pass. But does it? Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm overrating sixth tier German soccer. Maybe, based on the one highlight I have his teammate, they don't really know as much about what they're doing either. But judging from the footage, yeah, he looks solid. He didn't look completely out of space. He pulled a Michael Jordan, like Michael Jordan did with baseball, where, granted, Jordan was playing minor league baseball, a very high level, and honestly, before his return to the NBA, was slowly starting to improve. Not sure he ever would have gotten to the professional level, the top tier professional level for baseball, but yeah, somewhat impressive. It made me want to think about the types of players that have done, or perhaps former NBA players, especially, who have had the ability to play multiple sports. Typically, soccer, I find, is just not something that, like, if you're an athlete, it's like, if you're a super athlete, you can pick up some sports, like, to a certain degree, basketball, your jump shot won't be there. To a certain degree, I'm not trying to downplay any other sport, but to a certain degree, you can pick little things up. It's very difficult to shift your athletic mindset towards your feet playing soccer if you've never done it before. So, it's credit to Schroeder being able to do that. Typically, for basketball players, a lot of the times you see talks and comparisons of football coming into play. And one of the players that I want to highlight here is, of course, LeBron James. Always kind of curious if LeBron ever had the ability to play as a football player. In high school, he was pretty dominant. I think we'll run into some copyright issues if I show the LeBron highlights here. But just based off his numbers here, as a sophomore, 46 catches for 905 yards. As a junior, 57 catches for 1,160 yards at 23 touchdowns over the 2 seasons. LeBron himself mentioned that if he had a better quarterback, throwing his QB under the bus, but if he had a better quarterback, potentially he could have been even better. But LeBron James, I mean, he's a freak of nature athlete. Just the sheer size might have an ability to make him maybe, potentially, NFL caliber. Like, he was named an All-Ohio wide receiver, and there were some players there were some teams who actually made some attempts to bring in LeBron James as a football player to their college. And like, these are top tier D1 teams as well, right? These aren't just random schools. These are big time schools. Ultimately, what came of it is that LeBron was never going to give up basketball. He was the chosen one, the king, the prodigy. That was never going to change. But one player who maybe would have had a change of heart from a sporting standpoint, who maybe didn't have the drive as an athlete to be a champion, more so the drive for fame and finances. One player who may have chosen football in a different route was actually Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain, a bit of a history with this channel, because one of my first popular videos of this channel was a Wilt Chamberlain based video. But Hall of Fame NFL coach Hank Stram said that he rolled up to a practice one year, to camp one year. He ran a 4.4 40-yard dash in dress shoes. He was faster than Jerry Rice, likely the greatest wide receiver of all time. And, Wilt was a monster. He was over 7 feet tall. He had humongous hands, yet could potentially play as a wide receiver in football. Hank Stram did his best. Again, this is a Hall of Fame NFL coach we're talking about here. Won 2 Super Bowls. Talking about Wilt Chamberlain like this. And when asked about why he didn't sign him, it's because Wilt Chamberlain wanted to play quarterback and not wide receiver. Had Wilt had the desire to play as a wide receiver, potentially he could have ended up in the NFL. And what's also insane about Wilt Chamberlain, not only was he potentially good enough to be a pro football player, seemingly one of the greatest football players of all time, Wilt Chamberlain is one of the probably less than a handful of athletes, might be the only one, who is a Hall of Famer in 2 different sports. He's obviously in the National Basketball Hall of Fame, but Wilt Chamberlain as well is in a Volleyball Hall of Fame. I'm going to find the exact name for that Hall of Fame, but Wilt Chamberlain, at the end of his NBA career, started playing professional volleyball and ended up becoming a Hall of Famer in that one as well. He is in the International Volleyball Association Hall of Fame. Wow. Simply incredible for Wilt Chamberlain to have achieved a feat like that. Denis Schroder, look, I think that any player who has somewhat of an ability to play professionally in multiple sports is impressive, but Denis Schroder, when it comes to the hierarchy of dual sport athletes, Denis probably a little bit lower on the list.